I woke up choking on the taste of pine needles and regret, my lungs burning like I'd just clawed my way out of a grave, because I had. The last thing I remembered was the icy plunge, the betrayal in Mark's eyes as he shoved me off that godforsaken ridge, whispering, "It's for the team," soft, like it was some corporate memo. But here I was, gasping in the dim light of my old apartment in Seattle. The alarm clock blinking 6:47 a.m. on the day of the retreat. My body young again, unscarred, and my mind a goddamn arsenal of vengeance. It hit me like a freight train. I'd been given a do-over. Not some fluffy second chance at life, no. This was raw, unfiltered payback. The kind that simmers in dive bars and boardrooms across America, where trust is just another word for leverage. My name's Sophia Hale. And 2 months from now, those backstabbing assholes from Apex Dynamics were going to watch their empire crumble, piece by filthy piece. But first, I had to play the part, the eager event planner, the loyal VP of operations, the woman who'd poured her soul into this off-site retreat because I believed in the lie they sold me, family. That morning, I stared at my reflection in the cracked bathroom mirror, my green eyes sharper now, laced with the fire of someone who died for nothing. The scar on my collarbone from the fall? Gone. The divorce papers from my ex, who'd ghosted me right before the trip, still ensigned on the kitchen counter. I splashed cold water on my face, the kind that shocks you awake in those Pacific Northwest winters, and forced a smile. It looked brittle, like cheap glass. Good. They'd never suspect a thing. By 7:30, I was in my Prius, weaving through the rain-slick streets of downtown Seattle toward Apex's glass tower. The radio droned some NPR segment on corporate wellness. Ironic, given how my wellness had ended last time, bloated and broken at the bottom of a ravine, my body discovered days later by hikers who thought I'd off myself. Suicide. The cops ruled it, because Mark and the others had spun it that way. Emails fabricated. Witnesses coached. A trail of digital breadcrumbs leading straight to my fabricated despair. But I knew the truth. It was about the whistleblower files I'd stumbled on. The ones proving Apex was cooking the books on their AI ethics division, siphoning millions into offshore accounts while preaching innovation with integrity. I'd confronted Mark in private, my then CEO and lover of 3 years, thinking loyalty would win out. Instead, he'd rallied the inner circle, Lena from HR, that snake with her fake southern drawl, Tyler, the tech whiz kid who'd idolized me until the money talked, and Elena, my supposed best friend, who'd spiked my drink with just enough GHB to make the shove look like a drunken stumble. They left me for dead, then mourned me publicly, turning my memorial into a PR goldmine. Sophia was the heart of Apex, Mark had said at the service, tears glistening under the studio lights. Bastard. Now, as I parked in the underground garage, my phone buzzed with the group chat lighting up. Can't wait for the retreat. Soph, you're a lifesaver, from Elena, with a heart emoji that made my stomach twist. I typed back, thrilled too. See you at the helipad. Helipad, because nothing says team building like choppering into the Cascades for 3 days of trust falls and trust funds. The office buzzed with pre-trip energy, interns hauling coolers of craft IPAs, execs in Patagonia vests swapping stock tips. I nodded through the small talk, my planner's notebook clutched like a Bible. I'd mapped every inch of the retreat site, Eagle's Nest Lodge, a rustic spread 2 hours east, all log cabins and hiking trails, the kind of place where Silicon Valley wannabes pretend to rough it. But this time, I'd buried contingencies in the fine print, The emergency satellite phone was keyed to my biometrics only. The property deeds routed through a shell LLC I'd set up last night under a fake name. And the catering contract? Locked with a clause that gave me veto power over any early departures. They thought I was just thorough. I was arming myself. Mark caught me in the lobby, his Armani suit hugging that gym-sculpted frame, cologne hitting like a warning shot. "Soft. Babe," he murmured, pulling me into a hug that lingered too long, his hand sliding low on my back. In my old life, I'd melted. Now, it took everything not to knee him in the balls. This retreat's gonna seal the deal on that promotion. VP of Strategy, it's yours if you nail it. I pulled back, forcing that old sparkle into my eyes. Wouldn't dream of letting you down. Lie. The promotion was bait. They'd dangle it, then yank it after the accident, citing my instability. This time, I'd take it and twist the knife on the way up. The chopper ride was a blur of turbulence and forced laughter. The team of 12 squeezed into leather seats, champagne flutes clinking against the roar of rotors. Lena prattled about her latest Peloton obsession. Tyler demoed some VR headset that promised immersive empathy training, bullshit tech to mask their empathy deficit. Elena squeezed my hand, whispering, "Girl, we're gonna crush this. Sisters forever." I squeezed back, imagining her wrists in cuffs. We touched down on the helipad carved into the mountainside, the air crisp with October chill, evergreens clawing at the sky like accusatory fingers. Eagle's Nest sprawled below, main lodge with its stone fireplace, cluster of cabins circling a central fire pit, trails snaking into the wilderness. I'd chosen it for the isolation, no cell service, spotty Wi-Fi, and that ridge overlooking the valley, the one where it had all gone down last time. This round, it'd be their stage. As we unloaded, I handed out itineraries, my voice steady as a TED Talk. Day 1, icebreakers and visioning. Day 2, ropes course and deep dives. Day 3, reflection and reintegration. What I didn't say, Day 3 was when the feds would get my anonymous tip. Time to drop like a bomb while they were stranded. That night, over venison sliders and local Pinot, the group bonded like sharks circling chum. Mark gave a toast to new beginnings, his eyes locking on mine with that predatory gleam. I raised my glass, toasting silently to endings. As the fire crackled, casting shadows that danced like ghosts, I slipped away to the overlook, the wind whipping my scarf. In the distance, Seattle's lights twinkled mockingly, a reminder of the world I'd lost and the one I'd burned to reclaim. But doubt crept in, cold as the frost underfoot. Was this power trip worth it? Exposing them meant dragging innocence down too, the rank and file who'd bought the apex dream. And me? I'd be the villain in their story, the crazy ex who torched it all. No, I told myself, pulling the encrypted USB from my pocket, the one with the unaltered files. This wasn't crazy. It was justice, American style, messy, litigious, and unapologetic. Back at the lodge, Elena cornered me in the ladies' room, mascara wand in hand. Soft. Spill. You and Mark, it's happening. Right? After this, you two run the show. Her smile was all teeth, envy flickering behind it. Last time, I'd confided my fears. This time, I mirrored her grin. Maybe. But hey, what's a retreat without a little drama? She laughed, oblivious. Drama. That's one word for it. As I lay in my cabin bunk that night, the wooden walls creaking like confessions, sleep evaded me. Flashes of the fall replayed, Mark's grip on my arm, the shove, the scream swallowed by wind. For the team, he'd said. Team. That word had been my religion, forged in J-school grind sessions and late-night pitches. Climbing from intern to exec in a man's world where every win felt like borrowing against my soul. Apex wasn't just a job, it was my identity, until it became my tomb. Morning broke with forced cheer, yoga on the dew-kissed lawn, led by a perky facilitator named Jade, who'd probably majored in essential oils. I stretched through the poses, my mind mapping contingencies. If they tried to bail early again, citing weather, I'd invoke the contract, full buyout or stuck. The storm I'd anonymously forecasted, on its way, grounding choppers for days. By lunch, the icebreakers turned intimate, share a vulnerability. Tyler went first, admitting his crypto side hustle flop. Lena confessed her pill-popping phase post-divorce. When my turn came, the circle leaned in, expectant. I once trusted the wrong people, I said softly. Eyes on Mark. Let them convince me I was the problem. Almost broke me. Murmurs of sympathy rippled. Mark reached for my hand, but I pulled away just a fraction, enough to plant the seed. Afternoon brought the rope's course. That sadistic web of cables and terror suspended over a gully. Last time, it had been the bonding ritual before the betrayal. This time, I watched them struggle, noting weaknesses. Tyler froze midway, his fear of heights a liability I'd exploit later. Elena aced it, all grace and grit, but her footing slipped once on purpose, testing loyalties already. As dusk fell, we gathered for the deep dive, a bonfire confessional. Marshmallows toasting while secrets simmered. Mark steered it toward company vision, but I hijacked subtly. What if our biggest threats aren't competitors? I asked, voice carrying on the smoke. But the lies we tell ourselves? Eyes shifted. Lena fidgeted with her wine glass. Good. Paranoia was my first weapon. That night, alone with my laptop in the lodge office, biometrically locked. Of course, I uploaded the first breadcrumb, an encrypted email to a journalist contact from my pre-Apex days, time-stamped for release in 48 hours unless I recalled it. Subject: Apex's hidden ledger. Inside. Just enough to whet appetite. Redacted transaction showing Mark's signature on a $2 million wire to the Caymans. Sleep came fitful. Dreams tangled with the ravine's echo. Waking to rain pattering the roof, I felt the shift. The storm had arrived early. Winds howling like banshees. Perfect. Over breakfast, steel-cut oats and unease, the chopper pilot radioed in, grounded till Tuesday. Groans echoed. Soft. You genius, Tyler joked. Or curse. I smiled. Both. Day 2 dawned gray and relentless. The rope's course canceled for mudslides. We pivoted to trust walks, blindfolded hikes. Partners guiding through the woods. I paired with Mark, his voice low in my ear. You're killing it. Soft. After this, we're unstoppable. His hand on my elbow felt like chains. At the turnaround, I tripped, forcing him to catch me. Whips, I whispered. Slippery out here. He laughed it off, but I saw the flicker, doubt. Lunch was tense. Whispers about delayed flights and missed meetings. Lena cornered me by the coffee urn. Soft. Honey, this isolation's got folks edgy. Maybe cut it short. Her drawl dripped concern, but her eyes screamed calculation. Last time. This was when they started plotting. Contract says 3 days, I replied sweetly. Besides, we're just getting started. Afternoon. Group therapy charettes. Air thick with unspoken gripes. Elena vented about glass ceilings, shooting me a loaded glance. Projection much? Tyler rambled on ethics in AI, conveniently omitting how he'd coded the backdoors for their fraud. When Mark pushed for radical candor, I dropped the bomb. I've seen things. Discrepancies in the books. Anyone else notice? Silence crashed like thunder. Faces paled. What do you mean? Mark pressed, casual as a shark. Just wondering, I shrugged. Transparency's key. Right? The seed sprouted. By dinner. Alliances fractured. Sidelong glances, slicing the venison. Night 2. The bonfire roared higher, fueled by bourbon and buried resentments. Rain lashed the trees, trapping us closer. Someone suggested truth or dare, collegiate idiocy. But I leaned in. Truths tumbled. Infidelities. Thefts. The petty sins that bind. When it hit Mark, Elena dared him. Kiss the one you love most. He chose me, lips brushing mine in the firelight, tasting of deceit and desperation. The group hooped, but I felt the undercurrent. Lena's scowl. Tyler's averted eyes. Later, in the shadows, Mark pulled me aside. What's with the probing today? You okay? Concern masked fury. I met his gaze. Unflinching. Never better. Just tying up loose ends. He searched my face, then kissed me harder.
Urgent.
I let him, filing away the desperation for later. Power wasn't in resistance. It was in the illusion of surrender. As he left, Elena slipped from the darkness, wine glass trembling.
Soph. Talk to me. This vibe.
It's off. Her vulnerability act was Oscar-worthy. Last time, I'd spilled everything here. This time, trust is earned.
Elle.
You've got mine, mostly. She deflated, hugging me tight. Always. Sis.
Lies.
Storm raging. I retreated to the office, sending the recall code to the journalist delayed. Not cancelled. Tease them longer.
Then.
The real work. Hacking Tyler's tablet, password unchanged. The fool. Downloading his confession emails. Blackmail fodder. Dawn of day 3 broke with clearing skies. But the chopper delay held. Hope flickered in their eyes, escape imminent. Not yet. Over Eggs Benedict. I announced the finale, Legacy Walk. A solo hike to the ridge. Each sharing a commitment to Apex via recorded video. Last time, mine was the setup for my suicidal rant. This round, theirs would be nooses. We trekked single file, mud sucking at boots. The air electric with cabin fever. At the Overlook God, that ridge, wind-scoured and merciless, I gathered them in a semicircle. The valley yawning below like judgment. One by one, I said, phone propped on a rock. Recording. Tyler went first, stammering about innovation. Lena followed. Scripted piety. Elena's turn, eyes on me, voice cracking. To Sophia, for believing in us. Mark last, stepping forward with that CEO swagger. To the future. But as he spoke, I hit play on the hidden speaker in my pack, the audio clip from Tyler's files, his voice, clear as sin, admitting the ledger fudges. Gasps rippled. Mark whirled. What the? Surprise, I said, voice steady as Seattle rain. Or should I say, resurrection. Their faces crumpled, confusion to horror. Soph, what is this? Elena stammered. I stepped back, wind tearing at my jacket, the ridge's edge mere feet away. 2 months ago, you killed me. Shoved me right here.
Mark.
Called it suicide. Covered the fraud with my corpse. Disbelief shattered into panic. Tyler lunged for the phone. I sidestepped, his momentum carrying him close to the drop. Careful, I warned. Slippery. You're insane, Mark snarled, advancing. This is blackmail. We'll bury you again. Lena whimpered. Elena frozen. But I held up the satellite phone, my ace. One call, and the feds chopper in. Full files. Your confessions on video.
Or.
I trailed off, gesturing to the valley. We talked terms. They circled. A pack cornered. Tyler cracked first. It was Mark's idea. The whistleblower threat. You were going to tank us. Lena nodded frantically. We had no choice. Elena wept. I didn't mean Soph. Please. Mark lunged. But I was ready, pepper spray for my pack. A burst that dropped him gasping. Choice. You had choices. Like not doping my drink. Chaos erupted, scrambling, accusations flying. Tyler slipped toward the edge. Wind howling. Soph. Don't. In the frenzy. Elena grabbed my arm, pleading. We can fix this. Family. That word ignited me. I twisted free, shoving her not hard, but enough. She teetered, eyes wide with betrayal's mirror. Time slowed, her scream, the scramble, Mark's roar. She fell, a shadow tumbling into mist. Silence crashed. They stared, horror, guilt, the raw math of consequence.
You
pushed her, Tyler whispered. No, I said flatly. She slipped. Just like I did. But the lie burned. Was it accident or the monster they'd made me? Sirens, no. Chopper blades thrummed distant. My SOS sent mid-melee. As agents swarmed the ridge hours later, cuffing Mark mid-denial, Lena babbling for a deal, Tyler catatonic. I stood apart. The wind my only confessor. The files exposed it all. Fraud. Murder. The empire's rot. Apex crumbled in headlines. Tech Titan's deadly deception. My name cleared. A hero's footnote. But victory tasted like ash. Elena's body, recovered below,
haunted me.
Had I become them? The promotion? Mine. But hollow. I quit weeks later, vanishing to a cabin in the Olympics, writing exposés under a pen name. Power mattered. Sure, but so did the soul it cost. Sometimes, in the quiet, I hear the wind whisper her name. Sisters forever? Maybe in hell. No, that wasn't the end. Resurrection's a bitch. It doesn't wrap neat like a Netflix arc. After the ridge, after the indictments splashed across CNN like confetti from hell, I thought I'd won. Mark in orange, facing life for manslaughter and wire fraud, Lena flipping for immunity. Her drawl cracking on the stand, Tyler, the kid, cutting a plea that shaved years off but tattooed, rat, on his resume forever. Apex? Auctioned off in pieces. The AI division gutted by regulators sniffing for blood money. I got my vindication, a a quiet settlement from the board, enough to buy that cabin outright, and a book deal that paid better than any VP gig. But power's addictive, the kind that starts as revenge and morphs into something uglier. Elena's death? Ruled accidental. Exacerbated by group altercation, the DA's office mumbling about tragic corporate excess. No charges for me, self-defense in chaos. My pepper spray, justified. Yet every night, her scream echoed in the pines outside my window. A ghost demanding, was it worth it? Soft. I'd replay it obsessively, the shove. Her eyes locking on mine in that final betrayal flip. Accidental? Bullshit. I'd meant to rattle her, not end her. But in the heat, with Mark charging and the wind betraying footing, intent blurred into impulse. American justice, gray as Seattle fog, punishing the loudest while the quiet ones rot inside. Months blurred into a haze of therapy sessions, ironic, given my history and ghostwriting gigs for whistleblowers too scared to speak. I moved to Port Townsend, that artsy fairy town across the Sound, where hipsters brew IPAs with names like Regret Ale and Old Salt spin yarns about shipwrecks. Fitting. My cabin overlooked the strait, waves crashing like unanswered questions. I told myself it was healing, morning runs along the beach, collecting sea glass sharp as memories, afternoons pounding keys on a manuscript titled Fallen Angels of Apex, anonymized. Of course, to dodge the NDAs I'd shredded in my lawyer's office. But the itch returned, subtle at first. A news alert, Mark's appeal hearing. Some procedural crap about coerced testimony. I clicked through. Heart pounding. His mugshot staring back, gaunt, unrepentant. Hale's vendetta destroyed lives. His lawyer spun to Fox Business,
Painting me the harpy.
Comments flooded. Feminist witch hunt. She probably faked the fall. Rage boiled. Familiar as black coffee. One drizzly evening. Nursing a bourbon at the local dive, the Dirty Gull. All peanut shells and neon, I overheard truckers griping about corporate greed. Another tech bust. Jobs gone poof. My files had done that. Collateral for justice. Guilt twisted.
But so did opportunity.
You ever think about fighting back? I asked the bulliest one. A guy named Ray with forearms like oak and eyes that had seen layoffs. He laughed. Bitter. With what? Pitchforks. But I slid him a card. Fictional. For a whistleblower network, I'd half-jokingly sketched. By week's end, my inbox pinged, tips from ex-Apexers. Grudges against other Valley vultures. Power. Reborn. It started small, anonymous leaks to ProPublica, doxing a crypto scam tied to Tyler's old crew. Satisfaction surged, clean as a hit of adrenaline. Then bolder, infiltrating a rival firm's Slack via a disgruntled intern, Tyler's playbook. Ironic. Exposing their DI grift, fake diversity hires for grants. Real work offshored. The fallout? CEO resignation. Stock dip 15%. I watched from my porch. Rain sheeting the windows. Feeling Elena's ghost nod approval. Or judgment. The twist came uninvited. Like a bad sequel. 6 months post-ridge. A package arrived, no return address. Brown paper crinkling like secrets. Inside, a USB drive and a note in block letters. You think you're the only one who came back? Heart slamming. I plugged it in. Files unspooled. Not Apex's, but mine. Pre-retreat emails I'd forgotten. Flirty threads with Mark. Sure. But buried deeper. My own skeletons. J-school days. I'd fudged a thesis citation, plagiarizing a chunk from a competitor's white paper to land my first gig.
Petty?
Yeah, but traceable. Worse, during my divorce, I'd hacked my ex's email, not for dirt, but desperation, pulling bank logs to prove he hid assets. Illegal as hell, a felony if surfaced. And the killer, a grainy video, time-stamped the night before the retreat.
Me?
In Mark's hotel suite.
Post-argument.
If you don't back off the files, I'd hissed, glass in hand. I'll burn it all. Hyperbole. Born of hurt. But edited, slick cuts making it sound like premeditated sabotage.
Zenda?
Unknown. But the metadata whispered Tyler, his sloppy VPN habits. Panic clawed. This was the counterpunch, the twist I'd half expected but dreaded. They or he had dirt, enough to flip the script. Me, the unstable manipulator, not victim. My network? Compromised. The book? Pulled mid-print. I paced the cabin, fairy horns moaning in the distance, weighing options.
Run? Nah.
That was weakness. Fight dirty? Tempting. Decision time. The controversial kind that keeps shrinks in business. I called Ray, the trucker, now my unofficial fixer, with buddies in low places. Dig on Tyler. Everything. 2 days later. A dossier, his prison stint pending, but he'd cut a deal to consult for a shady startup. Laundering code for election meddling bots. Jackpot. But exposing it meant allying with Ray's crew, ex-cons, off-grid hackers, the underbelly I pretended to despise. We met in a backroom at the Gull. Cigarette haze thick as plots. Ray's crew, a wiry coder named Jax, tattooed knuckles spelling reboot, a former PI. Carla, with a voice like gravel and grudges deeper than mine. This kid's playing with fire, Carla rasped. Sliding photos, Tyler's meetups with Russian proxies. Disguised as tech exchanges. You want him fried? I nodded. Throat dry. Full exposure. But no traces. It was vigilante justice. The American dream twisted, bootstraps laced with brass knuckles. As they worked, doubt gnawed. Elena's face flickered. Had she seen this in me? The betrayer betrayed? Launch night. I leaked from a burner. Routing through Tor. Hitting wired and the times simultaneously. Ex-Apex coder in foreign influence scheme. Tyler's world imploded. Arrest at dawn. Headlines screaming traitor tech. Satisfaction? Fleeting. His plea video went viral. Tear-streaked. Blaming the witch from the woods. Unmasked. Feds knocked days later. Polite but pointed. MS. Hail. A word, coffee in hand. They laid it out. My hacks. The plagiarism unearthed in the chaos. Cooperation could mitigate. Mitigate. Prison loomed. Ironic echo of Mark's cell. But here's the gut punch twist. In their files, a second video, not mine, Elena's. Hidden cam from the ridge. Capturing her slip clear. No shove. Just stumble in mud. My hand outstretched too late. She'd tripped on her own desperation. Grabbing air. Accidental.
Pure.
The sender? Not Tyler, Mark. From lockup. His appeal, a ploy to drag me down. Forging the incriminating clip to paint me killer. Relief crashed. Then fury. I'd been played again. Chasing ghosts. I flipped. Full confession to the feds. My dirt for his. Mark's appeal tanked. Added charges for obstruction. Tyler's scheme? Busted wider. netting a ring of Valley insiders. In the end, I walked probation, community service teaching ethics at community college. The cabin sold. I relocated to Austin. That weird mix of barbecue and bitcoins. Starting a consultancy. Hale and True. Auditing corporate souls. Clients whisper I'm haunted, but effective. Power? It mattered. All right, enough to rebuild. Scarred but standing. Elena visits in dreams now. Not screaming, but smiling. Sisters, she says. Forever. Yet on quiet nights, wind through the cedars. I wonder, did I hold the power? Or did it hold me? In America, the line's thin as a razor, cut wrong, and you bleed out slow. Austin suited me. All that brash energy masking the undercurrents of reinvention. Think breakfast tacos at 2 a.m. Live music bleeding from every bar. And tech bros preaching disruption while nursing hangovers. I fit right in, a phoenix in fry boots and faded Levi's. My consultancy office, a converted shotgun shack off South Congress. Walls lined with whiteboards scrawled in dry erase fury, trust metrics and betrayal vectors. Clients trickled in, startups paranoid about IP theft. Nonprofits gutted by embezzlement. I audited their ledgers, their loyalties, charging premium for the Hale intuition, code for my hard-won scar tissue. Probation chafed. Though, weekly check-ins with a counselor named Dr. Ruiz, a no-nonsense Latina with eyes that peeled lies like onions. Sophia, she'd say, tapping her pen. Revenge is a circle. You gonna keep running laps? I'd smirk. Deflect with stats on corporate fraud, 1 in 5 C-suites. Per my sources. But deep down, she nailed it. The ridge haunted less. Elena's ghost fading to a whisper. But Mark's letters from Supermax? Those festered. Weekly screeds. Typed on prison stationery. You stole everything.
Soft.
But I know your secret, the real one. Bluff or bomb, I'd burn them unread. But paranoia rooted. Business boomed 6 months in, a gig auditing a fintech darling called NovaPay. Whispers of insider trading swirling like Austin summer heat. CEO was a slick millennial named Dex. All man bun and mindfulness apps. But his eyes darted like marks in the chopper. My team, now Carla and Jax, legit consultants with rap sheets expunged, dug deep, shell companies, crypto washes. By week 2, we had him, $10 million funneled to a charity that traced to his ex's offshore trust. Confrontation in his corner office. Skyline mocking through floor-to-ceiling glass. Dex, I said, sliding the dossier across mahogany. Your empire's built on quicksand. He blanched, then laughed, nervous. Rehearsed. Sophia Hale, the retreat killer. Heard the podcast. What's your angle? Blackmail? The word stung. Fresh wound. Podcasts, yeah. CrimeWire's mountain of motives had mythologized the rich. Me the avenging angel or calculated cunt, depending on the host. No angle. I lied smoothly. Just truth. Resign quietly, or I leak to the SEC. He leaned in, cologne cloying. And if I go down swinging, your hacks come out. That ex-husband hack, felony. Right? Or the thesis lift. Ice water in veins.
How?
Mark's network. Feeding scraps to rivals. Dex grinned. We all got dirt.
Soft.
Question is, who sticks? I left shaking. Rain impossible in Austin. pelting my windshield as I drove to the Gull's Texas cousin. A dive called the Rattler. Bourbon burned the doubt. Called Ruiz at midnight. He's right. I'm toxic. Her voice. Steady, then detox. Power's not in the win. It's in walking away. Walking away. The luxury I denied Elena. Myself. Twist 2 hit like a longhorn stampede. Dawn email from an unknown. Meet at Zilker Park. Bench by the Bat Bridge. Come alone. Heart stopped. Elena? Impossible. But I went. Glock in my purse, probation be damned. Mist rising off the Colorado like breath from the grave. There, not Elena, but her sister. Mia, twin-like. Down to the freckles, but softer. A librarian from Philly who'd inherited the estate. Sophia, she said, voice quivering, extending a thumb drive. Elle left this.
For you.
Suicide note? No, journal entries. Frantic scrawls from retreat eve. Softs onto the books. Mark says handle it.
God.
What have we become? If I die, tell her I'm sorry, not for the push, but for not stopping it. Tears blurred. Elena, complicit but cracking. A mirror to my own fractures. Mia hugged me.
Fierce.
She loved you. Blamed herself till the end. The fall, her guilt, amplified by the shove's aftermath. We talked hours, grief unspooling. Secrets shared. Mia's gift, closure, and a proposition. Elle invested in a fund, ethical tech. Run it with me? Temptation ward. Power. Redeemed? I took the drive home, poring over entries by lamplight. Elena's words, Sophia is the only real one here. If it goes south, save her. Prophecy fulfilled. In reverse. NovaPay decision loomed. Dex's threat echoed, but Mia's words anchored. Break the cycle. I leaked anonymously, no names. Just facts. SEC swarmed by noon. Dex resigned. Scandal contained. My role? Ghost in the machine. Untouchable. Mark's final letter arrived weeks later. Postmarked Supermax, you win. But remember, the power that mattered? It was love. You killed it. Crumpled. Burned in the sink. Ashes swirling down the drain like absolution.
Now.
A year on. Hale and True thrives, rebranded Echo Ethics, partnering with Mia's fund. We audit. Advocate. Amplify the small voices Apex crushed. Carla and Jax, partners, not fixers. Ruiz, friend. Over margaritas. Austin's chaos, home, with its weird warmth. Do I sleep sound? Mostly. The ridge visits in dreams, not fall, but flight. Wings borrowed from Elena. Sisters, we soar. Over valleys no longer yawning, but blooming. Power? It mattered, taught me to wield it gentle. Or lose it all. In America, happy endings are earned, gritty as barbecue sauce on your chin. Mine's just beginning.